Hi beauties, welcome back to Beauty Within, where we chat all things skincare, self-care, and healthy living to find out beauty within. So, what have we got in store for you guys today?
Today, we'll be talking about 10 newest launches from skincare to body care that we're really excited about.
Because every month, so many different brands come out with like new products, obviously. And on the channel, we always talk about different ways and different people that products could work for, but you don't necessarily need everything. So we're gonna share with you guys our thoughts on these newest launches and see if it's something that you need in your routine or maybe you can pass on.
And we may or may not have found our new favorite lotion, and that says a lot coming from a girl who is a die-hard Aveeno fan.
Yes, exactly. So all this to come and more, let's just kick it off.
The first thing we're gonna start with is Fresh's new Kombucha cleansing water. When we got this in the mail, I was speechless.
It was really exciting for some reason.
It was. The no wash required afterwards was what got us.
Yes, because we get a lot of questions on whether you have to wash off micellar water, and the fact that they just blatantly said it.
Do not need to.
Yeah.
For the busy gals. For the busy peoples.
And this is kind of part of the Kombucha
Kombucha
treatment
line.
essence.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about it, because they have a new ingredient.
They have prebiotic inulin.
Don't get it mixed up with insulin.
I know, when I first started, I was like, insulin? What is that doing in skincare?
Yeah.
So the inulin is a plant-based extract derived from chicory root, and it is great food for the microbiome, our skin's microbiome. And what it does, I think it complements very well with kombucha, which is fermented black tea. So the fermentation gives it more antioxidants, paired with like having a strengthened microbiome, skin microbiome. It's like match made in heaven.
Yes. So if your skin already has a really strong microbiome, pairing that with additional antioxidants wherever it comes from, like there's like a plethora of different ingredients that offer antioxidants, right? It's this even more ironclad, powerful shield to help fend off from environmental aggressors and stresses, which means that your skin is less prone to irritation. So this one, in terms of antioxidants and that boosting ability, has soapberry extract, which helps with the cleansing portion of it as well. We've used a lot of cleansing waters, cleansing treatments. To you, what makes this one a little bit different to the rest?
I think it goes back to the no wash off. I think that's the first, and the second is like it's really hydrating. Imagine the essence. I don't think it's probably as intense as the essence, but there's still elements and like trails of that. And I've been using mine's already half done. I use it every morning. And even though like I don't feel like I sweat or like much happens overnight, it's still pretty yellow. Yeah. So there's still stuff there. So having done that a few times, I was like, okay, I should use a cleansing water at the very least, but before I apply other products onto my skin.
It kind of reminds me of the Sun and Park Beauty Water. How it kind of feels like a toner almost, but also takes off makeup in the most gentle way. So that's that one there.
All that being said, this cleansing water costs a pretty penny at $44 a pop.
Yes.
Is it worth it?
Probably not if you don't need it, right? Like $44 for a cleansing step. I don't think many cleansers are even $44.
Water is free.
Yeah, so I think the reason that goes into the cost, obviously on top of things like marketing and brand, is there is fermented black tea in this, which, we talked about Innisfree, we talked about the Amore Pacific. There is a whole fermentation process, and that is time, which is money. We just think that like if you're going to be spending money, we always like spending it where it will do the most.
Get a serum.
Yeah.
Invest in a serum. Save the $44 and get a serum.
Yeah, which we'll talk about very soon. So then moving on to, where should we go? Serums!
Go straight to serums.
No brands came out with toners this month, apparently. Or we just missed it. Leave it below. We have 3 serums that, as Rose said, we're going to mention. 2 of them of which are super brightening. And then we have the Innisfree black tea one, which is a little bit more hydrating and like subtly brightening. But let's start off with Peach and Lily. So tell us a little bit about Peach and Lily as a brand, for those of you guys who haven't come across it.
Buzzwords: clean, gentle, effective, good for sensitive skin. Alicia Yoon.
Alicia Yoon. And they always like to reiterate zero compromise. Because Alicia had super sensitive skin, she wanted products that were as effective but just without the irritating component to it, potentially.
Especially now that she's a mommy to be.
Yes, congratulations! When we saw that post, when she revealed it, we were like,
squealed. They're like,
our favorite person giving birth to another being. Back to the treatment, we have the Peach and Lily Transparen-C. This is their Pro Spot treatment. So we watched the video on how Alicia went about formulating this. She said it took 3 years of just like clinical trials and trying different types of vitamin C and all their derivatives. We all know vitamin C is a really well-studied ingredient, but sometimes it causes irritation. So she went through L-ascorbic acid and found that it was efficacious. It works, but on the other end, it can be irritating and it oxidizes really quickly. So she's like, pass on that one.
So the second vitamin C they tried is a derivative of L-ascorbic acid, which is magnesium ascorbyl phosphate. And they found that while it still worked, it didn't absorb as well into the skin as it would have liked.
And then her team tested even more. There's another derivative known as THD and also ascorbyl tetraisopalmitate. And she was saying how these two are very commonly used interchangeably in the skincare industry, but what sets it apart is this little bendy arm, which makes it much more easier and the absorption of the ingredient to be absorbed into our skin. And that's where she settled on using this particular vitamin C derivative. And they settled on this because of a few things, like it absorbed into the skin really well, it didn't give irritation, and it didn't oxidize like L-ascorbic acid did. So it was just, user-friendly, completely on brand. So that was how they came to this specific vitamin C derivative.
Yeah, and Alicia was posting on her stories that when she first got pregnant, her skin broke out and then she got a lot of PIH.
Yeah.
And then after using this serum religiously for a few months, it all, for the most part, disappeared, aside from her, like marks that she already had on her skin. And after seeing that, I was just like,
yeah.
I'm sold.
Yeah, pregnancy safe. And on top of that, there's even more really well-researched brightening ingredients like kojic acid, there's tranexamic acid, and then there's also ferulic acid. So we know all of these working synergistically with vitamin C really gives that boost to the skin.
So this is formulated for all skin types, but because it is a bit more oily compared to most serums that you'll come across, like the ones I will mention right after this, it depends on your skin type. For more drier skin types like me, can probably use a few more drops. For you, how many did you say? 2?
I only used 2 and it was sweeping across.
And then each drop is pretty small.
Yeah.
So 2 small drops goes a long way. Even that 1 drop on the back of my hands went a long way. It covered my whole hand.
Yes, what is it? The cosmetically elegant spread of products. So when I use this, I only need this after cleansing and a moisturizer because it feels already so nourished. Yeah, beauty within stamp of approval for this one, obviously. So that's that one. Murad,
another brightening. So you know what's interesting? When I saw the packaging of this serum, I was like, vitamin C for sure. And then I was like, oh, it's actually glycolic and tranexamic acid.
Yes.
I was like, interesting. From all the branding and marketing, you just associate orange and yellow as vitamin C.
Yeah. Dude, totally fell into that trap too. And then I was like, wait a second, where's the vitamin
It's
C?
like, it's just glycolic.
Yeah. So Murad is really known and well known for their rapid dark spot correcting serum, but this one is the reformulated and new one because the previous formulation had hydroquinone, and as we know, that is banned in the EU. It has, studies about it potentially being irritating. So now that's out of this formulation and it's tranexamic acid that got injected into this baby. And guys, we first talked about tranexamic acid, 1 or 2 years ago?
Yeah. First in Inculus is a standout ingredient.
Yeah. And it was used only in hospitals to help stop bleeding, when it was ingested. And then they found that when applied topically, it basically matched the effectiveness of what hydroquinone could do with 0 to very little irritation. And they did studies on Korean women, in Middle Eastern women, and they found very similar results. I think in my mind, Murad stands out as it's kind of
science.
Yeah, clinical, science, and effective.
So the texture of this serum is a very beautiful, lightweight gel serum, and it has a pretty tangy glycolic acid smell.
You know it's in there.
Both of these products you could use daily, especially the glycolic. It says you can use AM and PM. But just because a product says you can use it AM and PM doesn't mean you need to use it AM and PM, especially if it's glycolic.
Yeah, so if you have acne prone skin and you're wanting to use it for that purpose, I personally just use it until my skin gets better and I like the desired effect, and then I go back to the hydrating.
The soothing serum.
So it ebbs and flows like that. So read your skin, peeps.
Next, moving on to Innisfree's Youth Enhancing Serum with Black Tea. Innisfree, More Pacific, Lavish, all of them with their teas. I love it.
Yeah.
So this serum is definitely more of a hydrating serum compared to both of these, but because there is a good amount of niacinamide in here, it will help subtly brighten your skin. And there's also microencapsulated ceramide and hyaluronic acid. So it is very nourishing. I believe there's also squalane pretty high up on the ingredient list too.
That was what was most surprising about this serum.
Because it's a pretty creamy serum.
It leaves a very oily texture on my oily skin.
Yeah.
Which I was not. I was expecting more of like an eye unit.
I was expecting more of like the green tea seed serum.
Oh yeah.
That I love. This one, I believe it just concentrate. It packs more of a punch.
Very nourishing.
I think it'll be great for my dry
Touched,
skin. Yes.
So the difference between something like this serum and the single vintage essence toner is that with that one, it's just the extract.
The extract is the end product.
Yeah.
The extract for this is mixed into the product and it's actually further down the ingredient list.
Yeah, because it's got the emollients, it's got the squalane, it's got niacinamide, so there's like a whole other slew of ingredients that come into it. But if you're wondering, that's the difference.
It's a difference.
Yeah. So I feel like this one is really good for, like Ro was saying, like dehydrated, parched skin, fine lines, wrinkles, because it's just so like just nourishing as a serum. Probably one of the more heavier consistencies.
And this type of serum compared to the brightening ones, you can for sure use every single day, multiple times a day, no problem. And it's suggested to use 3 to 5 drops on your palms and then press it into your face. I'm just imagining you putting 5 drops of this on your face.
I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even use moisturizer.
Hair.
Yeah!
As we just wrapped up the tea, one of our favorite ingredients, let's move on to moisturizers, starting with another tea-packed moisturizer. Yes! From Sioris.
Oh my gosh. So we did a video comparing Sioris and Haru and what our thoughts were, and then you were saying like, if only they had a thicker moisturizer.
Yes, and here it is.
Bing.
And then the Haru, what do we say? Just like
a
diversification of the lines. Yes. And they came out with a new cleansing oil that we'll talk about in the future.
More on that later.
So for this cream, oh my goodness, have you tried it? I don't think you would want to try it.
Yeah, because I was taking photos of it.
And you're like, oh God.
Yeah, that's not for me because I know it's like very thick, like, you know, that density.
It is dense. And I was putting it on last night and I was thinking, how can I talk about this moisturizer? And I was like, it's like a cake. I like my moisturizers like I like my cakes. Buttery and dense. So like the Milk Bar cakes. And that makes sense because there's 8% shea butter in here on top of like 2% of this wild rose extract and a 28.5% green tea extract.
And that's what Sioris is really good at. They always have the green tea water as this like foundation to all their skincare products. So how much do you use? Like, I'm very curious.
I will, standard. I would use a swipe per cheek, another swipe for my forehead and chin, and a baby swipe for my nose.
So prior to this, does this compare to something that you've used before in terms of like the nourishment and the thickness of it?
This is pretty unique because I feel like these days, most of the moisturizers, even for dry skin, they're pretty lightweight. They're lightweight, but they do a lot. So think of the Make Prem Safe Me cream. That is still pretty lightweight, even though there's a lot of, you know, oils in there. This one, I feel like it's dense, but then it still also isn't suffocating.
It seems like it gives a very like skin-like finish. It's not overly glowy and like wet oil, but it's just kind of like that shea butter.
It's also not matte.
Satin.
Yeah,
It's just kind
it's
of there.
healthy.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Rose tests for moisturizers if she wakes up the next morning and it's not like
Great, if it's still like intact, but if it's,
it's like that?
dry, this is, yeah, it is. So this is definitely for people with drier, much drier skin types. I think you could use this, but maybe you'll just use like a pinkies dab. And that's it. And I feel like if you want a lighter moisturizer, they have the night cream. That's still very nourishing, right? So there are other moisturizers from the same line. But thank you for thinking of us drier skin gals.
Yes. Oh, and I also want to mention quickly, they have the Essener, which is
The what?
their essence. You know the new Essener? It's called Essener. I thought it was misspelled and it was supposed to be the essence, but it's like the Essener. So anyway, running with that, it came out almost at the same time, their new products, but that's also green tea, and it's this goopy texture that's kind of like, it's supposed to be a toner, but it's like a goopy serum.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I've been using that, and it's got the Artemisia leaf, all very soothing, calming, and very hydrating. It's like almost this jelly water. If your jelly was to start slowly melting away in the sun, and then you scooped it up before it turned to water, that's the texture of it. So there's
Sounds
those
very
two.
refreshing.
Yeah, kind of just like Sioris. Thanks for extending the line. Ding. Now moving on to another moisturizer on the other end of the spectrum, an oil-free gel moisturizer. If it couldn't be like worlds apart, right? Yeah. So this is the one from Summer Fridays that they came out with. I'm sure you guys have seen it because just like all their packaging and aesthetics is like really on point, but sometimes it can be a little bit of a distraction, you know, like trying to rely too heavily on being cute. Yeah. But this one was very surprisingly like awesome. So what it's got is, it says a hyaluronic complex, and what that means is it's just got sodium hyaluronate and hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid. And when it's hydrolyzed, it just means it makes the particles smaller so it can like sink into different parts of the skin. And then there's also pineapple enzyme, and you know, enzyme cleansers that Rowena really likes in the powder form is their kind of like a very gentle chemical exfoliant where it naturally breaks away and reveals brighter, smoother skin. And then it's got amino acids, and amino acids are essential building blocks of our skin. It's the proteins. It links so that our skin barrier is nice and smooth and glowing and can do its thing. And it was funny looking into the ingredients list. It also has ascorbic acid, which it didn't like promote, which I really love, you know? So you don't have to go like, wham, I'm all this, which I feel like people really love to do in terms of ingredients.
The texture is, it's like wet but not.
Like a
It's
rainy
like
cloud.
wet, oily, but not oily.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the thing.
Words are escaping me. Please help. Send help.
SOS. No, so I was also reading the reviews on this, and I think people, you know, you can always be apprehensive because there's so many gel moisturizers now. As Ro was saying, everyone wants to make a gel moisturizer because I feel like more and more people are liking that lightweight, fast absorbing feeling, and you can kind of build on it. But this one I feel like is just enough where you can use it throughout the year if you have combination or oily. I feel like if you have combo dry, it won't be enough. But on my skin, wow, it's beautiful. Like the bounce of it, it's a little bit milky, and it's also got a little bit of lactobacillus ferment. So it's got, you know, the microbiome building ingredients, although it's down at the bottom of the list. And I think we know now more than ever that just because something is at the top of the ingredient list, the middle or the end, it doesn't really mean much. It more so depends on what it is that it's doing there.
And how it's formulated.
Yes. And I think this one I like as well because it's oil-free and it doesn't leave this, some gel creams actually leave an oily feeling.
Yeah.
And it's not nice. And reading the reviews, I think a ton of people also are enjoying this, and I feel like it does deserve the credit. So Good job. Now we have a newcomer.
New baby.
Oh my gosh.
It's the vegan egg, the Superegg.
Okay, so egg has been around in our lives for like thousands of years, right? But traditionally in Asian culture, in Chinese culture, in Korean culture, it was used as skincare. And I think like, you know, now skin food, like they love egg because it can have the ability to tighten the pores.
That was actually the first brand I remember egg in. Because this is back in, I don't know, middle high school when I had no recollection of like skincare at all. My cousin, like we're in Taiwan, she's like, oh my God, I love skin food or like Skin Ink, one of those. And then she would like go there and get different things and I would just look around and not get anything, but it's like,
they had
egg?
the cleanser that was really
the
popular.
egg cleanser and the egg masks. And I was like, ew, I want to put that on my skin.
Yeah.
And here we are.
So like in China, for example, they used to mix the egg white with powdered vermilion. Little did they know vermilion was toxic and could kill them the next day, but they still did this out of like beauty necessity. Yeah.
Beauty is pain. Embodiment.
And then there was like the Joseon era, which was the last kind of dynasty where they really honed in on like beauty traditions, and they would mix egg with alcohol and use that as a glowing kind of treatment. Isn't it funny now? Like people hate alcohol and what they used to do was mix alcohol.
So Erica took that concept, made a vegan egg, so harnessing the superpowers of like the egg shell, the egg yolk, and the egg whites to create the Superegg.
Yes.
And there is a cleanser as well as this moisturizer.
Yes.
They feel like they're all more for oily, acne-prone skin types.
It is very lightweight.
Because this is a pretty lightweight moisturizer. I actually use this as a serum.
Yes.
Just like a light, thin layer of a serum before I will put on like a Sioris thick cream.
Yeah. So you can see that in the way that she broke down the egg components with these two products. So in here is the yolk duplex. We were just like kind of slightly dying because we're imagining two like egg yolks bouncing around in a duplex.
Hey Jim, how's it going?
So you can imagine like in a real egg yolk, there's fatty acids, there's cholesterol, there's amino acids, and all of these like skin building and enriching ingredients. So that's basically what's in here, as well as vitamin B5, which is panthenol, as well as hyaluronic acid, and there's PHA. And the specific PHA is gluconolactone, and that will just gently help to resurface the skin ever so subtly.
Interesting, it's like we never really see PHA in moisturizers.
Yeah, so that's that one. That's her baby.
Yeah.
These are her babies.
And so this has the yolk duplex. This has the white duplex. So the egg whites. There's the tremella mushroom, soy protein, and rice extract.
So they're all very subtly brightening
Yeah.
and very hydrating. Like mushroom as an ingredient, wherever you find it, it's kind of like hyaluronic acid in that it has the ability to hold up to 500 or 100 times its weight in water. And it's true, right? Like the way it binds to hydration and water is insane. This pH level is around, I believe,
5.5.
yeah, which is very close to our skin's natural pH balance, slightly acidic, but it does leave that more like cleansed feeling for my oily skin. I can definitely tell versus, you know, our normal pure gel.
Yeah. So when it comes to pricing, it's $34 for the cleansing foam and $60 for the moisturizer. I see why it's like that. And to formulate a product like an egg and make it vegan.
Yeah.
Science.
Yeah. Okay, so now I think we're moving on to body. Wow, 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 wow. So we have 3 body moisturizers, all very different.
I want to start with the Dream Cream. So it's actually not called the Dream Cream, it's called the Watermelon Pink Dream Body Cream. So to make this more friendly for the body and more like a body butter, they have the watermelon seed oil as well as the hibiscus, and they also have hyaluronic acid. So it's really similar to their OG mask, but it's just body friendly.
Yeah. And I feel like the level of scent is like perfect for a body cream. It's not too much.
You can get wafts of it throughout the night.
Yeah, you wake up and you still feel like, oh, I feel fresh.
So I've tried a lot of lotions throughout my lifetime.
Our resident moisturizer.
Body moisturizer tester, body lotion tester. And I also had eczema-prone skin when I was younger. Nowadays it's a lot better. The one that I love and that I use till this day, it's the skincare product that I emptied the most of all time. It's the Aveeno lotion. This one I feel is the first more like mainstream millennial product that actually nourishes my very, very dry skin. You blend it a few times and it's in. The only thing is, I feel like I'll go through a bottle in like less than a month.
Yes!
Because per arm, I use 2 pumps.
Yes!
My front of the body, I use 2 pumps. Back of the body, 2 pumps. My thighs, 2 to 3 pumps.
Yes!
My calves, 2 pumps. And then by then it's like, bye.
Yeah. Because I also like working it up here as well, which is where I get more of the stretch marks and stuff. And it's just like, I think, ding, 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 ding.
But see, that's the thing, because when we get to the summer Fridays, this one just like you blend it a few times and it's in.
Yeah.
Right? Versus some other moisturizers we'll talk about later that's like you have to work it in a bit more.
Yeah. So anyway, Summer Fridays also came out with one.
So this lotion reminds me of a childhood lotion that my mom would use on me. I was just even dry as like a little kid. It smelled a lot of like cocoa butter.
It's like you're on a tropical island.
It is, like coconuts, cocoa butter. So there is a lot of cocoa butter. There's a lot of shea butter and then rosehip oil. And the interesting thing is, even though there are a lot of thicker ingredients like the shea butter and cocoa butter, it's lighter weight.
It is.
Compared to the Glow recipe.
Yes, it spreads much thinner.
Yes, and I think that is my only like, it'll probably work better for your skin. As for mine, like sometimes when it spreads thin like that, I don't like how you need to work it into your skin. In general, I just like, and then it goes in, and that's it, right? But this, I think, maybe I put too much.
To me, I feel like in terms of just the scent, I enjoy this one better because this one's overwhelmingly nutty. This is the Josie Maran Pro-Retinol Body Butter, smooth and firm. What drew me to this and what I like about it is when you're moisturizing your body, you essentially want to achieve that glow, right? Like on top of just making it not like a scaly gecko, like you want it to be that sun-kissed, like I was on a
Island girl.
Yeah, island girl. It's reflective, it's elastic. It looks like there's flexibility in the skin. So this is the hibiscus HA, right? The retinol vitamin A. And when you see these chemical exfoliants formulated in a body, it really helps the same way to resurface the dead skin. And that's why I feel like it's taking moisturizing of the body one step further to reveal the glow. And it's not gonna like make you peel or anything because once again, I feel like our skin's body is a little bit more resilient. And what makes it pro-retinol is the ingredient pink algae extract, which helps with the fine lines and wrinkles of our body. So I feel like when I use this, I enjoy the tub form for moisturizer when I'm like sitting on my chair or bed. You just kind of like scoop it up instead of like pumping away. And it's also got 100% argan oil, which is what Josie Maran is known for. All of their products contain the argan oil, and it's another fast absorbing one, much like jojoba oil that most skin types can enjoy. But it's still like really fluffy.
Oh, this is, the Glow recipe is thick compared to this.
It's like dense, right? Yeah. This one looks thick, but it's actually really spreadable, lightweight, absorbs easily, and does everything that you want.
This feels like a gel.
That's
like a
true,
gel.
but looks creamy.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird?
So those are the new launches.
Ding, ding.
Let us know what you guys think, or if there's any products you guys want us to try and want us to cover in our next video. We'll try to do a monthly installment of new launches because there are just so many skincare products coming out.
Yes!
Despite what's going on around the world, the skincare industry is
going strong.
booming.
Because we're all at home, we need to take care of ourselves, so it makes sense.
And with that, Fel, what did you learn this week?
So this week I was thinking about just our actions, even if it's like well-intended or with good intent, how it can come off to people that we're communicating with and how it can get misconstrued, and then how there's miscommunication. Like there's a situation and it's just how we perceive it, right? So if you're a self-reflective person and you like to think over everything that you do and how it affects people, that's still just you. Yeah, and it's hard sometimes to realize that even though you had other people's thoughts in mind, that it still comes off wrong.
Even though you think you're doing something good for someone, they may not need that thing. They may be looking for something else, or like you just never really know.
Yeah.
So I think as what you're saying, it's like instead of just living in our own heads, that's something that I've been thinking about too, is like asking people more and like seeing what they need help with before just being like, oh, here's advice, or like, oh, here's what you should do. Yeah.
And what that naturally leads to is like this open communication, which I'm always trying to further improve upon, because you can think so highly or lowly of yourself, wherever it is, right? It's just your understanding of where you are versus like, who even knows like where other people are. And if you really want to communicate, if you really want to build strong bonds, then that just comes with the territory. And it helps you understand yourself better.
Yeah.
It's true self-awareness. So yeah, that's thoughts of the week. Yay! Okay, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. See you very soon.